All right, so we're going to do something a little bit different. A little test of our collective attention spans, unedited, solo cut, semi-stream of consciousness, monologue, discussion, ramble, rants, whatever you want to call it, about hiking as a therapeutic modality for mental health that is far superior to pharmacology. And go. So, I'm about 38 years old. And I am not a doctor, I am not a mental health professional, and I'm not advising anyone to do anything. What I am is someone who has suffered crippling depression, anxiety, and wanting to unalive themselves since they were about 4. Who's ruined countless relationships with women, friends, family, lost jobs, destroyed careers, messed up his education, been to jail in 3 different states, messed around with every drug, was addicted to them and alcohol, and now lives a sober and medication-free life where, despite not having much material wealth, has one hell of a good time existing on this planet. So, if you want to listen to anything like that, stick around, leave a like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Help the algorithm. So, hiking as a therapeutic modality. This is what allowed me to get off of medications, to which I was having horrific side effects, as I have had my entire life. When, growing up in the 80s and 90s, that's when they first came up with the lie of the chemical imbalance theory, the low serotonin theory of depression. And I say a lie because in July of 2022, just last year, they did a meta-analysis of countless studies, all trying to prove that theory from various angles, and they all were unable to prove it. So, having this sort of affirmation as to my understanding that I've had my whole life, I've always said, if I have low serotonin, why can't you show me on a test that I have low serotonin? And 2, how do you know this is the cause of depression when you have never been able to test anybody and shown that anybody has had low serotonin? So how do you make a claim that low serotonin is the cause of something when you've literally never shown anyone to have low serotonin? It doesn't make any sense, right? So, anyway, regardless, nobody listens to a kid. And here I am today. So the realization that I had was, it's not entirely wrong with the chemical imbalance, because we do produce all sorts of neurochemicals and neuromodulators, hormones, etc., that impact our moods, our thinking, and our behaviors. So it's not entirely wrong to say that those with depression or a mood disorder or anxiety have a chemical imbalance. What I believe is wrong, and what's actually criminal, is peddling things like SSRIs as some sort of a treatment when none of them have had any long-term studies, and they've all had cherry-picked studies to try to show their efficacy. Because the reality is that they all essentially are as strong as a placebo when put under an actual study. So, hey, look up all this stuff. I don't care. I don't have any proof of necessarily everything, but you'll be able to find enough anecdotal evidence to know that I'm correct. The pharmaceutical industry's main motive is profit. They are not about patients. Their goal, their fiduciary, their legal responsibility is to make money for their shareholders. That is what they are here to do. It is up to you to control your mental health and to fix things, which is a scary ass thought. Especially when, in a present moment, maybe you don't even feel comfortable in your own skin, or you're thinking about unaliving yourself. So let's talk about this a little bit more directly with hiking. As you hike, you have to move your eyes laterally. Otherwise, you're going to slip, you're going to fall. And by doing so, just like with eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy, EMDR, you're going to be producing acetylcholine and ultimately entering a neuroplastic state that's going to allow you to kind of rewire your thinking, your unhealthy thought patterns. But the benefit with hiking is you're also fatiguing. You know, your muscles are getting tired, your joints are getting sore, you're getting thirsty, hungry, dry mouth. All of this is leading to more processing your brain has to do about your body versus your head. So when you start thinking about some emotionally triggering event, you don't have the mental capacity to have a crazy emotional reaction to it. Now, that's again part of what the acetylcholine is doing, but I believe the hiking increases that. I also know that with hiking, the more you spend in exposed sections, which I guess I've been on some, I don't know exactly what I've caught on camera so far, but you know, the more you're kind of on that edge where if you slipped and fell, it would be bad news. Think Alex Honnold, that's a good example, right? Free solo. If he has extremely high levels of GABA because he's gotten so incredibly accustomed to being in the most insanely scary situations, right? This high level of GABA makes it so he doesn't feel fear or have anxiety the way that many people do. Now, I believe he might have some unique genetics, if I'm remembering right, but we all can, increase our GABA by hiking, in particular at elevation. And it doesn't have to be, you know, the craziest high elevation. This mountain in particular is only, I think 3,300 feet is its highest point, but even existing and hiking around in sections like this, you know, if I were to slip and fall this way, that would be bad news. But I have zero anxiety about it because I do this all the time. And, you know, you can find your appropriate hill or mountain to get some elevation and work on that GABA production. Another thing and I should note, look into Dr. Andrew Huberman if you want to get a significantly better explanation of this type of stuff. But, you know, look around. How many miles do you think it is that I'm seeing in almost every direction right now? And if I spend time and I focus, like specifically looking at aspects of the ridgeline of the McDowell Mountains over there, and I really try to look in on that, and then maybe I look over to the Phoenix skyline, and I look intently to try to specifically pick out a building. This is helping repair my vision, because one of the things we do in modern life is we look at screens. Everything we look at, most of what we look at, is so close to our face. And this robs us of that extreme distance, which is, again, the vast majority of human existence. We've had to look off into the distance. And so this was a skill that we used to have. Now, you know, I started my hike today a little before 6 o'clock in the morning. So it was shortly after sunrise, but right as the sun's coming up. And the benefit of that is I am getting a rebalancing to my melatonin and cortisol. So this is going to make me sleep better. And the benefit of the cortisol is that I'm going to be less irritable and anxious throughout my day, because instead of getting sort of a clogged tap where it's dripping out throughout the course of your day, I get my dump bright and early in the morning. Now, my understanding from an evolutionary perspective is cortisol essentially exists to get us moving, otherwise we'll die. We need food, we need water, we need shelter, you know, whatever the case may be, or we will die. And that's sort of our biological programming. Now, in modern life, we've eliminated so many threats to our actual safety that we have to mentally manifest a lot of these ailments or a lot of these illnesses to sort of react to the fact that we have this biological programming and we're pretending we don't, because again, we live in our heads, and so we ignore biological realities. And that's, I guess, sort of the insidious and tricky thing about it is you don't want to necessarily believe that the problem with your head is fixed through your body. But it is. And they have done studies on SSRIs versus physical activity. And obviously, again, this isn't an edited video. I'm not going to, fact check and edit anything up there. Leave it in the comments and I can gain more knowledge and make better videos in the future. But I believe it's 1.5 times the benefit of SSRIs is what they found exercise to be. Now, I don't know exactly the specifics of the study, what kind of exercise was done. Again, I'm a proponent of hiking because it's extended hours, especially if you do it by yourself. I think solitude, contemplation is incredibly important for mental health. Meditation is very important as well, but sort of mindful moving is definitely similarly efficacious as meditation. So, what else can we add to this little combination of why hiking is such a good therapeutic modality? Well, you start building esteem in yourself, right? You start feeling more confident, more capable. I didn't start by climbing to the tops of mountains and hiking across them, but when I hiked smaller trails, I saw those mountains and I always wanted to get to the top, and then it gave me something to work towards, right? And now I've climbed kind of in a bad spot to really be able to see them. We got the Santan Mountains over there. Obviously this mountain, we got the Superstitions, we got the Gold Fields. I've climbed a good amount of mountains, and it's fun now to look up at those mountains and say, I've been to the top. So, you're engaging in the opposite of self-deleting behavior, because not only are you lengthening your life through, getting all the steps and the exercise, of course, all of the mental benefits like we talked about, and there's a lot more that we could go over as well. I try not to make this video too incredibly long. But again, as you intentionally live, the more you will begin enjoying life and the less life will get to you. And of course, it needs to be noted, hydration and nutrition are incredibly important. Supplementation, vitamins probably deserve a mention as well. But I hope this is well received. I hope some people out there that are a little bit low give hiking a try and really legitimately, just focus on the basics of hydration, nutrition, sleep, and exercise, and just see what it does for you. Anyway, I really appreciate you stopping by. We'll catch you next time. Peace.